So guys, then we come to the end of the color correction process. And when you come to the end of your color correction process, you may want to add to your mental checklist a few things to do, few must things to do. Like when you start color grading, you know that you have to do white balance before your primary weird grade, and you want to know that when you finished making your color correction, you want to add these little things just before jumping into the color grading. One thing that I want to tell you that I missed saying in the group markers and flag video, it's about having a group grade, or better, pre-group grade or post-group grade, as film grain maybe in the end of the color correction, or maybe a noise reduction at the beginning of this group color correction. So we can mix this up also with remote grade, with a local grade. By the way, I'm gonna do that by grouping this clip of my model with these other two. Right click, and I'm gonna make a new group, add into new group, and I call it model 1. Press OK. And I'll go here into clips. I can, go into my group. I can, see my model 1 group. But by the way, I don't want to focus on that right now. I want to see all my clips, and I want to work just on this group. So by working on this group, I can, go up there, and you can see that working with this clip linked to a group, it will allow me to press these two buttons, and one button is the group post clip and the other one is the group pre clip. You want to use this just to make general adjustment before and after the singular clip. This is happening when you are, making general grades, local grades with Windows or effects, specific effects just for specific clips, and you don't want to use those effects on the other clips, and then you want to work there into the specific clip, but maybe you want to add as a final touch of the color correction a noise reduction to all your clip in that specific group. So right now that I am on this image, we can see that we are inside the group from this thing. As you can see, if I jump to another clip, I can see the other dots, but I just can't see this one, that it's always visible. And by the way, it's the timeline dot. This is the node color space just for the timeline, so everything I'll be doing there will affect my whole timeline. Maybe, I don't know, I want to have a high saturated timeline, so every clip on my timeline will be highly saturated. By the way, reset that to 50. But I can use this for my whole timeline, but if I want to work with my clip, I'll stand the clip. But by working with grouped clips, it will open me the possibility to add something to my pre-clip group and to my post-clip group. I normally used on the pre-clip group to make a standard adjustment. So everything that I've done here should be done on my pre-group clip. So let's reset that by copying it, deselecting that with Command D, going into the group pre-clip and paste it there. Obviously it's pasting just one node at a time, so I'll be returning into clip, selecting this. I want to have a less contrast image, by the way, and with my hero frame I want to create a still, so I'm gonna grab the still, then I'm gonna erase all that from my clip. I'm gonna create a new one, and then on my group pre-clip I want to go into my gallery and apply that grade. Now the cool thing is that balance, that starting grade on the group pre-clip will be activated on all my grouped clip. So I have a standard transformation for all my clips. Right now, if I want to make something like noise reduction or something else before my original clip, I can do it now here, and it will affect all my clips. If I want to make a custom, adjustment to just that clip, I can change it to clip, and I just can, I don't know, make a power windows on his face or whatever, doing maybe something like this, cranking the black down in that way, inverting it obviously in that way. And by doing this, I'm just affecting the clip, and I can do different tweaks on the other clips. Maybe on that one I want to create the exact same window, but on another part of the image, let's say there on his eyes. So I'm gonna do something like this. Okay, just as an example. And I want to solve that, and I will keep my my previous group preclip effects without affecting my clip. In the same way, I can, I don't know, adding something at the group post clip. So let's take an example. I want, and I'm usual to make something like this. So I have a basic grade for all these three. As you can see, if I deactivate this, it deactivates on all this clip. So I want to add at the real beginning with Shift S another node, and by adding this node, I'll be adding some noise reduction here. Noise reduction, it's pretty easy to explain. So you have the temporal noise reduction here. It asks you how many frames you want the program to analyze. Normally for really smooth clips, I choose 2 or 3. That's okay. Maybe 3 is fine for us. It asks you the motion estimation type, and normally I will go for better because we want a better result. Motion range, medium. It's not large at all. And the temporal threshold will be working with Luma or Chroma. We can choose it to make them work both together or just with one of them. A standard number is between 3 and 5. I will go for 5 here just to let you see how it works. And then I will go on the spatial noise reduction. I will go on enhanced. It's the best one. And for this one, I'll go to 10. And this is great if you have noise like green or red noise. This will erase all the noise, by the way. And I'm gonna deactivate that. And as you can see from his face, I'm gonna zoom there. We are erasing all that nasty noise with just just a little plugin. So I'm gonna deselect it now, and yeah. And by the way, this one, it's affecting all my clips inside the group. So maybe I want to do that as the final touch, obviously, because it's pretty heavy. But also after this, maybe I want to go. I'm gonna deactivate this for now. I want to go in my group post clip and then add film grain. I recommend to obviously add your film grain as final touch after color grading, but I'm just doing this as an example. So I want to add 35400T maybe. And I don't know, I want to have a higher grain size, higher opacity. If you like grain, by the way, lots of you guys may not like grain. And there you'll have add grain to all these clips. So it's important as a final touch to work with that, combining groups and combining effects, because as a final touch you want to add noise reduction, you want to maybe add film grain, you want to make few tweaks, and adding them before your clip, it's always better, because you want to dedicate the clip space maybe for your creative look or for specific tweaks for that image. And in the end, after doing this, having everything organized, having everything in pre, post, and in the clip on the right point, we have to analyze our clip just before color grading. So one thing that we don't want to do is, I'm gonna deactivate the film grain and want to jump back into the clip itself. We don't want to overdo too much. I'll tell you why. Because when it comes to color grading, you want to push your image not to the limit, but you want to be able to push it just even more on what you're doing. Maybe you want to push the contrast even more. Maybe you want to push the saturation even more. And you want to have the right space to create a look. So maybe on the pre-clip group, you tied up that contrast, you cranked up that contrast a lot, and you don't have enough space to play with the blacks anymore, because you cranked it all and it's already on that 0 point and where we have to go. And maybe you want to be gentle on the initial part. Maybe you want to set your clip to the right part, and you want to have more space on your creative part. So my pro tip is to push that image in the color correction part to is highest level. Let's look where it comes to, but then play gentle, preparing it to color grading. Because by the way, in an image like this one, I would crank the contrast down or the blacks up a bit, because for sure I want to have some more room. So I will crank the lift up a bit. I want to have more room in terms of color grading. So I want to play a lot with colors. I want to play cool with these blacks, with these whites. I don't want to have a super contrast, a super convert image to maybe a Rec 709 version earlier. So play it cool always. You have to play it cool with lots of things during obviously the color correction, but by the way, trying to do and redo things in terms of preparation to color grading. So you can even crank that contrast up and say, okay, I'm ready to color grading in that way. But you have to know that when you'll be color grading, you will have limitation. You'll have to play it on a smarter side, or being conscious that you have already cranked that contrast a lot up. You have already cranked that saturation a lot up. So be safe on that part, but at the same time be creative, because it's a priceless thing. You can do that whatever you want. You can do that in tons of ways, and you can do that in really different ways, and we're gonna talk about that into the color correction part on few modules ahead. And nothing more than that. So when you're starting to finalizing the color correction, remember to put your noise reduction just before everything else, because you'll be removing the nasty noise from the image that it's not already being touched by the grade or by the corrections. Obviously, applying this in the end will have a different effect, because it will clean an image processed, and in that way you will be cleaning an image that is an original image, and so it's better. And you'll also remind to use this color correction, white balance, whatever it's for, preparing the image on your group pre-clip, and then use the clip for any local adjustment or for your grading, and your group post clip for grain or visual effects that you want to add in the end of the clip. Maybe you want head grain and you also want head just before grain on another node with Shift S. I don't know, maybe glow, some glow. It's always cool to have glow on image like this one. So you want to set the glow on little threshold like this one. And by the way, right now it's slowing down for the noise reduction because it's really powerful tool and it takes a lot of GPU. So you want also to keep that deactivated till the end. And the great thing about using it on the group pre-clip is that by reactivating this in the end, will be reactivating it on all those grouped clips. So by going in the end, you want to maybe add some glows, and yeah, whatever you can do then whatever you want, and the glow will be, you know, working on all these clips, even there. Yeah, that's great. So smart use of groups, smart use of noise reduction and finalizing tool before and after, so pre and post clip with groups. You can obviously do all these even just on your clips without grouping it, but using group, it's a really powerful tool in terms of time when it comes to a really huge timeline and you've done your work, you've grouped everything. You'll be like, okay, thanks Filippo, now I know why I'm doing this. So that's it. We are ready to jump into the colors secret tools. So we'll talk about primaries and secondaries correction, repositioning, keyframe, the HSL qualification, nodes, and tracking, all in our previous all in our next module, the module for the colorist secret tools.